Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something pretty complex, often controversial. Pornography. The big question really is it actually bad for us? Or, is it all just hype? Okay, yeah, let's try and unpack this a bit. We've got a real range of sources for you this time. Everything from brain scans, solid scientific studies, to global stats, even what's coming next with tech trends. Our job here is to pull out the key stuff, the surprising bits, so you really feel you've got a handle on it.
And what's really striking is you can jump straight into the brain science, the neurology of it all. It taps right into our brain's dopamine reward system. Natural.
Dopamine, right, the pleasure chemical.
Exactly. Every time there's something new, boom, dopamine release. It gets our attention. And porn just,
Yeah.
it delivers that novelty constantly. On demand, limitless novelty.
So it hooks the brain's natural reward seeking.
Precisely. And that repetition, that constant stimulation, it actually leads to what we call neuroplastic change. Your brain physically changes, it rewires itself based on these repeated experiences.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just a fleeting feeling.
No, not at all. The sources we looked at really break down how this happens. The constant hits, the quick satisfaction, it's like a perfect storm for reinforcing certain pathways. One study actually put it very directly. Let me find the exact words here. Pornography satisfies every one of the prerequisites for neuroplastic change. It essentially speeds up learning, like practicing a skill intensively.
Like practicing a skill. That's a powerful way to put it. It really lands the idea that the brain is deeply involved, maybe more than we think.
Absolutely. It's fundamental to understanding the potential effects.
Okay, so if the brain is changing, that adaptability you mentioned, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, it complicates the simple good or bad question, doesn't it?
It really does. The sources are quite clear. It's not necessarily harmful just by existing, but excessive use. That's where we start seeing potential impacts based on that rewiring.
Impacts on things like relationships, mental well-being. What specifically do the sources point to there?
Well, yeah, that leads us straight into the whole addiction conversation. Now, it's really important to say pornography addiction isn't an official diagnosis in the main psychiatric guide, the DSM-5.
Okay, so clinically, it's not defined like, say, gambling addiction.
Not in the same way, no. But, and this is a big but, researchers do observe behavioral patterns that look like addiction, and they see neurological links. For example, studies show correlations between heavy use and reduced gray matter,
Reduced gray matter. In what parts of the brain?
often in areas linked to things like planning, decision-making, impulse control, kind of like the brain's executive functions.
Yeah.
So there seems to be a tangible effect on motivation and self-regulation for some heavy users.
Hmm.
But it's also complex. Some research suggests, maybe pre-existing traits make some people more vulnerable to developing these compulsive patterns in the first place. It's not just the porn itself, perhaps.
That makes sense. The interplay between the person and the stimulus. And thinking about stimuli, this is where the tech angle gets fascinating, right? The future implications.
Oh, definitely. Our sources really flag this. Think about super realistic AI avatars, deepfakes, truly immersive VR experiences.
Stuff that makes current content look basic.
Exactly. Experts are concerned this could seriously ramp up the addiction potential, more tailored, more intense, more inescapable, potentially.
Yeah.
And then you've got a whole raft of new ethical issues, consent, identity. It gets messy fast.
Yeah, you can see how that would complicate things even further.
Which really brings us back to what we can do. The consensus seems to be around, well, being more mindful about consumption. It's about digital literacy, understanding these platforms, how they affect us.
And talking about it more openly.
Yes, fostering open conversation is key, whether that's just thinking it through for yourself or talking with partners, family, friends. It's about navigating this digital world more responsibly, more consciously.
So knowing all this, knowing how our brains are wired to respond to this kind of intense novelty and stimulation, it really leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? For you listening right now, what does this knowledge actually mean for your digital habits? How can we, actively nurture our brain health in a world that's just getting more and more digital? Maybe something to think about. What steps could you take for your own digital well-being? Or perhaps this sparks you to look into it even further.